I want you to imagine something for a second. Just picture yourself showing up to your normal corporate office job.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Right. So you put in your 40 hours every week, you grind through all those mandatory meetings, and you hit every single one of your performance targets for the month of January.
Sounds like a good month.
It is. And on January 31st, your boss calls you into their office, shakes your hand and says, "Phenomenal work this month. Truly outstanding."
Always nice to hear.
Yeah, but then they say, "We're going to process your January paycheck sometime in late April. Keep up the good work in February."
I mean, you would probably assume you were the victim of a really bad practical joke.
Exactly. And the moment you realized your boss was completely serious,
You'd pack up your desk and quit immediately.
you'd have to, because everyday survival becomes impossible under those conditions. I mean, how do you pay your February rent?
Right.
How do you buy groceries for your family in March? Or make your car payment? For a corporate employee, being told to wait 3 months for a paycheck is an absurd dystopian scenario.
Totally insane.
But in the construction industry, that isn't a joke at all. That is literally the standard operating procedure.
Yeah, it's wild.
Right now, a staggering 70% of contractors are routinely waiting 60 to 90 days just to get paid for physical work they've already completed.
Work that's already been signed off on, too.
Exactly.
And, that waiting period only begins after they have already fronted the massive capital required to do the job in the first place.
Which is huge.
Right, because a subcontractor doesn't just show up to a site with a laptop. I mean, they've already purchased the lumber, the steel, the drywall.
Right.
They've paid for all those heavy equipment rentals, and they've already run weekly payroll for their entire crew.
So they're out of pocket from day one.
Completely. These independent businesses are essentially being forced to act as zero-interest lenders for, billion-dollar construction projects.
Wow.
They're bleeding their own cash reserves dry while they wait for the money to just slowly trickle down the chain, from the owner to the bank to the general contractor, and then finally to them.
So it's this massive, suffocating payment crisis, and it's basically paralyzed the industry for decades.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that crisis is exactly what we're unpacking in today's deep dive.
It's a big one.
We're pulling from a huge stack of incredibly fascinating sources today. We've got industry reports, financial analyses, technological roadmaps, and they all point to this massive systemic shift happening right now.
Right, we're finally seeing real change.
Yeah, we're exploring how agentic AI is rapidly moving from just being, a theoretical tech buzzword to a highly functional catalyst in the real world.
It's stepping in to completely transform contractor cash flow.
Exactly. And the mission of our deep dive today is to look at how this is moving construction fintech away from just putting digital band-aids on broken processes.
Yeah, and moving it toward true systemic fixes.
So let's talk about that evolution, from band-aids to systemic fixes.
Well, it's critical to understand the history here, because for years, software solutions in the construction space, they simply took old, slow, paper-based processes and digitized them.
Like just scanning a piece of paper.
Basically, yeah. Instead of mailing a physical paper invoice and waiting, you're emailing a PDF of an invoice and waiting.
So the medium changed, but the delay didn't.
Exactly. The fundamental workflow, the waiting, the endless manual verifications.
Of human bottlenecks.
Right. All that administrative friction stayed exactly the same. But what our sources map out today is a fundamental rewiring of the payment machine itself.
And the flashing neon sign that this rewiring is no longer just theoretical is, it's Earlytrade's reefer $25 million funding round.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge signal.
Right. I mean, when serious capital starts flowing into a highly specific, historically complex, and frankly unsexy problem like construction supply chain payments.
It definitely signals a tipping point.
Yeah. So let's talk about that $25 million.
Well, the Earlytrade funding round represents a massive bet by investors. They see this perfect macroeconomic storm brewing right now.
Right.
The founders' vision for their platform is basically built on the premise that artificial intelligence is finally capable of untangling the sheer complexity of construction contracts.
And all the different billing formats, too.
Exactly. But the underlying investor thesis backing that money suggests that the competitive timing is what really matters right now.
Okay, let's unpack this investor thesis a bit, because honestly, whenever I see a massive funding round with the letters A and I attach to it...
It's a little skeptical.
Yeah. I approach it with a healthy dose of cynicism. I mean, we are in an era of AI hype.
We definitely are.
So I have to wonder, are investors just chasing general AI trends because it looks good on a pitch deck right now?
That's a fair question.
I mean, does a $25 million round specifically prove that the construction sector has reached a breaking point, or is this just another shiny object?
Well, you have to look at the macroeconomic reality these construction businesses are facing right now.
Yeah, okay.
Historically, the construction industry operates on razor-thin margins, and they are notoriously slow to adopt new software.
Right, unless they are literally forced to by external pressures.
Exactly. And look at where we were 5 years ago. Interest rates were near zero.
Oh, right.
So if a subcontractor was waiting 90 days for a payment, they could easily just draw down on a cheap line of credit from their local bank to float their payroll.
Okay, so the delay was annoying, but it wasn't lethal.
Right, it was extreme annoyance, but they could manage it. But today,
Yeah.
the cost of capital is incredibly high.
Yeah, those interest rates have skyrocketed.
So that same line of credit is now prohibitively expensive. The traditional financial buffers have completely dried up for these guys.
Wow. So the pain of waiting 90 days has escalated from just a cost of doing business to a total existential threat.
Exactly. Investors are aggressively backing agentic AI platforms, not because the AI is just, novel or cool, but because contractors literally cannot afford the status quo anymore.
A technological fix is now a mandatory survival tool.
It really is.
Okay, so if the macroeconomic pressure is the why this is happening now, the how comes down to this shift from passive software to agentic AI.
Right.
That term gets thrown around a lot, so we really need to define how an AI agent actually behaves differently on a construction site to eliminate a 60 to 90 day wait.
Yeah, so the defining shift here is moving from basic task automation to what they call invoice to cash automation.
And that's driven by these autonomous agents.
Right, because basic automation might just flag a missing field on a digital form, and then it just sits idle.
Waiting for a human to log in and fix it.
Exactly. Waiting for a project manager to review the flag and make a decision. But agentic AI acts with a level of autonomy. It actually makes decisions.
That makes sense.
Think about how physical the construction world is compared to the digital invoices that represent it.
Right. A subcontractor submits a complex billing document for, say, 100 feet of drywall.
Yeah. And in the old system, a human accountant sitting in an office miles away has to somehow verify that physical reality before approving the payment.
Which takes forever.
Right. But agentic AI bridges that physical to digital gap. It integrates directly with site data.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice?
Well, it can pull from project management software, review digital site logs, verify complex line items against the master contract.
It can even check that all the necessary leasing waivers are attached and signed correctly, right?
Exactly. It pre-reconciles the financial document with the actual physical progress of the building.
I love this. It functions like a hyper-vigilant, completely tireless project manager whose only job is to just clear roadblocks.
That's a perfect analogy.
Right, because in the legacy system, a subcontractor submits this massive 50-page billing packet.
Oh, yeah.
And that packet just sits on a desk for 3 weeks.
Gathering dust.
Yeah. Finally, a human reviews it, realizes there's a missing signature on some compliance document buried on page 42, and kicks the whole packet back to the subcontractor.
And the 90-day clock starts completely over.
Which is brutal. But an AI agent spots that missing signature on page 42 the exact second the packet is uploaded.
Instantly.
And instead of just failing the document and rejecting the whole thing, the AI actively routes a targeted message straight back to the specific person at the subcontractor's office.
The person who handles compliance.
Yeah, telling them to sign page 42 right now so the processing can just continue uninterrupted.
It transforms this linear start and stop process into a continuous real-time workflow.
Which is huge.
It really is, especially because construction payments are infamous for the kickback.
Explain the kickback for us.
Okay, so if that drywall contractor bills for 100 feet of drywall, but the general contractor's project management system only shows 80 feet completed.
That invoice gets kicked back.
Right. And that single discrepancy causes massive friction, angry phone calls, weeks of administrative delays.
Just a total nightmare.
But because the agentic AI cross-references the invoice with the actual project progress in real time, It flags that 20-foot discrepancy for resolution before the invoice is ever even formally submitted.
Wow. So by the time the final invoice hits the general contractor's desk,
It's already pre-reconciled, mathematically perfect and fully compliant. The friction is just removed entirely.
okay, so if the friction is removed and the money can actually move, we have to look at the ripple effect across the entire ecosystem.
It changes everything.
Right, because the most obvious beneficiaries are the subcontractors. I mean, they finally get their cash in 14 days instead of 90 days.
Which is life-changing for them.
Absolutely. But our sources also claim that general contractors, the GCs, actually save working capital in this scenario.
Yes, they do.
And that even the banks financing the projects benefit by significantly reducing their credit risk.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is how untangling just this one knot magically creates a healthier financial ecosystem for everyone. Let's take the banks first.
Okay.
Construction lending is an incredibly high-risk environment. A bank provides a massive, multi-million-dollar loan to a developer to build, say, a commercial skyscraper.
Right.
The bank's absolute worst nightmare is that their money gets stuck somewhere in the middle of the supply chain.
So if the general contractor holds the funds,
The subcontractors walk off the job because they aren't getting paid.
right.
Then, those unpaid subcontractors file mechanics, liens against the physical property, the project stalls, and the bank is left holding this half-finished asset tangled in legal disputes.
That is a nightmare scenario.
Exactly. But by introducing Agentic AI, the bank gains unprecedented transparency.
Because they can see the data.
Right. They see in real time that the physical work was completed, the invoice is clean, the compliance is verified, and the money is flowing directly to the people actually swinging the hammers.
So their credit risk plummets.
Exactly. Because the risk of a project-killing payment dispute practically disappears.
Okay, I understand the bank's perspective. That makes total sense.
Right.
But the general contractor side of this equation is a lot harder to swallow.
You think so?
Well, yeah. Massive GCs have historically relied on holding on to that cash for 90 days. It's like the industry's open secret.
It definitely is.
They use the subcontractors' money to float their own operations, fund their own overhead, earn interest on it.
Yep.
So won't they fight this? I mean, why would a GC willingly give up that float? Why is saving working capital through AI suddenly more attractive than hoarding the cash like they've done for decades?
I mean, you would think GCs would fight this transition to protect their float. But hoarding cash by delaying payments carries massive, often completely unquantified hidden costs.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
First, consider the administrative overhead. A large GC might employ a whole army of accountants and administrators whose entire daily job is just dealing with angry subcontractors.
Right, taking those phone calls all day.
Manually tracking down missing land waivers, managing payment disputes. It's a huge drain.
So if AI agents handle the reconciliation and compliance, that entire administrative overhead is eliminated.
Exactly. But second, and this is vastly more impactful to their bottom line, subcontractors are acutely aware of who pays when.
Oh, they definitely talk to each other.
Yeah. They know exactly which GCs drag payments out for 90 days and which ones settle up in 30.
Okay, I see where this is going.
Right. So if a GC is notorious for slow payments, the best subcontractors will literally add a 5 to 10% hassle premium to their bids.
Wow, just to cover their own carrying costs while they wait.
Exactly.
So the GC is effectively taxing themselves. They are paying a premium on every single piece of wood, every hour of labor, and every electrical wire on the project, just for the privilege of holding onto the cash too long.
Exactly. They are massively inflating the hard costs of the actual build.
That is wild.
But if a GC can suddenly turn around to the market and announce that they use Agentic AI, their invoices are approved instantly, and they guarantee payment in 14 days.
They instantly become the client of choice.
Yes, the highest quality subcontractors will flock to their projects, and they'll offer their most competitive baseline pricing because the risk of delayed payment is completely gone.
So the GC ends up saving massive amounts of capital on the actual hard costs of the construction.
Which far outweighs the marginal financial benefit of playing that 90-day float.
That is a fascinating paradigm shift.
It's massive.
And compressing this cycle from 90 days down to 14 days, effectively hands these businesses 2.5 extra months of working capital.
Money that used to just be trapped in administrative purgatory.
Right. So what does a subcontractor actually do with that kind of liquidity?
Well, 2 extra months of working capital is totally transformational for a trade business.
I bet.
It means a framing contractor can take on 3 simultaneous projects instead of just 1.
Because they don't have to wait to get paid on the first building before they can afford to bet materials for the second.
Exactly. It means they can purchase bulk materials like steel or copper when commodity prices are favorable, rather than just buying just in time on expensive credit out of pure necessity.
And for a GC, that liquidity means they can fund their own growth, invest in advanced building equipment, or take on larger bids.
Yeah, without needing to secure expensive mezzanine financing to bridge the gap between project phases.
This level of liquidity also fundamentally changes the landscape for the bonding companies, doesn't it?
Oh, completely.
They act as the invisible safety net beneath all of these massive projects.
Right. And the surety bond market is built entirely on risk assessment. Bonding companies provide insurance policies that guarantee a project will be completed even if a contractor goes bankrupt mid-build.
Okay.
And the reality is, the number one reason highly skilled contractors go bankrupt is not because they forgot how to lay bricks or wire a building.
Right.
It is almost always because of cash flow problems caused by delayed payments.
Wow.
Picture a third-generation electrical contractor with a flawless safety record and incredible craftsmanship.
Okay.
They can easily be forced into bankruptcy simply because a massive hospital project held their $2 million payment for 120 days. And they just couldn't make payroll for their crews.
That is so depressing.
It happens all the time.
Huh.
But when payment cycles compress to 14 days across the board, the default risk across the entire construction industry drops like a stone.
So bonding companies can offer significantly better rates and greater capacity.
Which again lowers the overall cost of construction for everyone involved.
So if the benefits are this widespread lowering costs for GCs, saving subcontractors from bankruptcy, reducing risk for banks and bonding companies, the market opportunity here is just astronomically large.
It's a massive, massive market.
And that obviously creates a fiercely competitive landscape. Earlytrade's $25 million round is essentially a starting gun.
Exactly. They are definitely not operating in a vacuum here.
Right, because we are seeing massive legacy construction software giants trying to frantically retrofit AI onto their decades-old code bases.
While agile, specialized fintech startups are racing to build native AI experiences from the ground up.
The race is aggressively underway. So here's where it gets really interesting for me. What determines the winner in this space?
Good question.
Is it purely having the smartest, fastest AI? Or is it about who can capture the network of contractors first to create an inescapable ecosystem?
It is absolutely about the network. The race isn't just about who can build the smartest natural language processor or the fastest document scanner.
Because everyone's going to have that eventually.
Right, having highly functional AI is simply the table stakes to enter the arena right now.
Okay.
You have to remember, construction is a deeply fragmented industry. A single commercial project might involve one owner, one general contractor, a massive lending institution, and 50 different specialized subcontractors.
And they are all using completely different, disconnected accounting software.
Exactly. So the platform that ultimately wins this space won't just be the one that reads an invoice the fastest. It will be the one that successfully connects all those disparate parties into a single trusted network.
They are essentially racing to build the central nervous system for project finance.
That's a great way to put it. The urgency driving these massive funding rounds is all about land grabbing that network.
Okay, so how does that land grab actually happen?
Well, once a major general contractor mandates that all 50 of their subcontractors must use a specific AI platform to submit their bills and get paid.
Those 50 subcontractors are now officially onboarded into that ecosystem.
Exactly. They experience the 14-day payment cycle. They realize how transformational it is for their business, and then what do?
They start actively demanding to use that same platform on their other projects with completely different GCs.
Yes. The network effects are incredibly sticky here. Yeah. The technology is finally ready. And the first company to achieve true critical mass across owners, banks, GCs, and subs will effectively become the financial operating system for the entire built world.
It's incredible. And if this network effect takes hold and everyone adopts the same standard, the immediate payment delay is solved.
Right.
But what happens to the underlying legal contracts when the friction they were built to protect against no longer exists.
Yeah, it's the real game changer.
Because if we look at the horizon, our sources point to the potential eradication of some of the industry's most entrenched practices.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the most profound structural shift on the horizon is the potential total collapse of pay-when-paid clauses.
Now, for anyone outside of construction law, a pay-when-paid clause is widely considered one of the most toxic mechanisms in the entire industry.
Oh, absolutely toxic.
It essentially means the general contractor inserts a legal clause saying to the subcontractor, I will not pay you for the drywall you just installed until the owner of the building pays me first.
Right. It takes all the massive financial risk of a commercial project and shoves it all the way down the ladder.
Right onto the shoulders of the smallest businesses.
The plumbers, the electricians, the concrete pourers.
Right. The drywaller isn't a bank, but they're being forced to absorb the financing risk of the developer.
And those clauses only exist because of the massive friction, the information silos, and just the profound lack of trust in the traditional system.
The GC uses the clause as a legal shield against getting caught in the middle of a cash flow crisis.
Exactly. But think about it. In a future where AI agents are handling the ecosystem, the information silos completely disappear.
Because everyone can see the same data.
Right. The AI provides real-time cash flow forecasting to all parties. The owner's bank can see instantly that the plumber finished the pipes, the AI verifies the compliance documents, it reconciles the physical progress.
And the money moves automatically through the chain.
Yes. So the underlying justification for a pay-when-paid clause vanishes entirely, because the risk is mathematically mitigated and totally transparent in real time.
I mean, it's like building a self-driving car system, but for project finance.
That is exactly what it is.
The human beings, the architects, the master builders, the project owners, they just set the destination. They determine the design, the materials, and the timeline.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, the Agentic AI handles all the financial braking and accelerating required to get there safely.
And it negotiates the complex payment terms before the ground is even broken.
Wow.
It monitors the physical progress, it routes the invoices, manages the lien waivers, and just ensures the capital flows smoothly along the journey.
Without anyone having to manually pump the brakes or fight over the steering wheel?
Exactly. It removes the emotional and administrative friction entirely. It fundamentally de-risks the entire construction supply chain.
That is just phenomenal.
You no longer have highly skilled project managers spending half their week acting as glorified debt collectors and mediators.
Right.
You have intelligent machines handling the complex financial logistics, allowing the human workforce to focus their energy on what they actually do best.
Engineering, problem solving, and actually building complex physical structures.
Imagine that.
Well, let's bring all of this down to the bottom line for you listening. The critical takeaway from the sources we've explored today is that the construction industry is crossing a definitive threshold right now.
It's a point of no return.
This is the year the construction payment crisis stops being an accepted, unavoidable cost of doing business and actually becomes a permanently solved problem.
The era of the 60 to 90-day wait is officially ending.
And Agentic AI is actively replacing the manual choke points with automated, verified trust.
Which is incredibly powerful.
And whether you are a subcontractor trying to make weekly payroll, a GC trying to lower your bid costs and secure the best talent, or an investor watching the space, this compression of the payment cycle is going to fundamentally reshape who survives and who thrives in the built environment.
The technology is clearly ready, but the cultural shift required to fully embrace it is going to be immense.
Yeah, letting go of that 90-day float and tearing up those adversarial contracts requires a massive leap of faith for an industry that has been historically defined by financial defensiveness.
Which leaves us with a final thought to mull over. If Agentic AI eventually handles all of the complex contract negotiations, the tedious invoice routing, and the constant financial friction, does the core skill of running a successful construction business fundamentally shift?
Oh, wow.
I mean, for decades, survival in construction has been just as much about financial maneuvering, contract litigation, and cash flow gymnastics as it has been about laying bricks or pouring concrete.
It's been a game of finance, really.
Exactly. So if the software finally takes care of the money, does the industry get to return entirely to the pure physical art of building?
It fundamentally changes what it means to be a builder.
Something to think about next time you see a crane in the sky. Thanks for diving deep with us today.